Hey, everybody, this is Paul, Dr. Nacho Goodman. I'm live here in my dental office in Pennington, New Jersey, where the dentisting dreams come true. What is it like to own a dental practice, you might ask? Hey, everybody, this is Paul, Dr. Nacho Goodman. I'm live. What is it like to be a dental practice owner? It's like running a circus where the animals don't try to eat you, just slowly annoy you to wanting you to move into the middle of the woods and see if squirrels and turtles need dentistry. Owning a dental practice, it's 50% awesome, 50% annoying, 100% exhausting. Math is not my strong suit, but I've been a dental practice owner for over 15 years, and I really enjoy helping patients chew and smile with confidence. I enjoy leading a team to help people succeed. It is also incredibly stressful. Running a dental practice is like running a Broadway play that nobody really wants to see or pay for, the exact opposite of Hamilton. So one of the things I found to maintain my success, and more important, my sanity, is to develop systems. Everything that matters needs a system, and everything matters is one of the things that I share with my team. So I want to share some systems with you to help you decrease confusion for your patients, for your team, and yourself. I always say confusion is the killer of case acceptance. So what can we do to streamline our systems? What can we do to create more clarity? What can we do to have more fun? I'm going to share with you things that I do on a daily dentisting basis in my office. I would love to get questions about what you do, questions about this process. So if you'd like to reach out to me, you can do so at paul@dentalnachos.com. You can reach out to me at paul@dentalnachos.com. I would love to learn from you as well. But let's get started for some of the systems to increase success, maintain my sanity. There's three things that I believe we all should focus on. Number one, increasing success. Number two, decreasing stress. And number three, reducing the number of times we feel like crying inside a day, because we're dentisting humans. Keep your sweating on the outside, you're crying on the inside. So the first thing I have is this simple model. Implants are one of my favorite things. I think we should be so proud that we can replace people's teeth, give them a whole nother set of bionic sharp teeth. I am constantly being incredibly positive with my patients about how lucky we are that these things were invented. One of my own uncles wouldn't be able to eat a steak if implants were not invented. He's one of my favorite people. But if you have three missing teeth in the back, you can't do a bridge to air. Can you bridge to air? I can't bridge to air. So he'd have to have some miserable partial for the rest of his life. He's a vibrant 71-year-old. He's a pop-up. He's playing golf. He's race walking. He's going out to eat, and implants have allowed him to chew and smile with confidence. So this is one of my removable implant overdenture models. I share with patients that one option to replace your teeth that have totally failed, and totally do not say failed, I say to patients, hey, looks like it's time for your teeth to retire. So instead of fail, say time to replace your teeth, time for your teeth to retire. It's more fun. It's more likable. I don't know if you like calling teeth hopeless prognosis is really something that bonds you to the patient. So look to use more patient-friendly terms. We're glad to share some of the ones that I use. But one of the things is I do not say the word fail. I say time to replace and retire. So when I'm talking with the patient, I say one of the options is teeth that come in and out of your mouth that snap into dental implants. You can take these teeth out, clean them underneath the sink. I've done these cases many times. I show a video of some of my happy patients who have done that. So fixed implant cases are awesome, and these implant cases are awesome too. Share the awesomeness of all the things you can do on your treatment plan menu. Share the good parts and the challenges. So of course, there's going to be more material in the patient's mouth with this removable implant overdenture, different than a fixed stay in all the time teeth. But this is just an example. We have models like this for fixed cases too. Next in my bring it to life, decrease confusion, is we have an implant card that shares with the patient what it's like to replace a missing tooth with a dental implant, from removal of the teeth and bone preservation, I don't say extraction bone graft, to placement of the titanium root to restoring it. So this implant card is something my awesome brother put together. I had done version A back in the day. He put pictures together for this card. I encourage you to make a simple card like this that you can hand to patients and say, hey, this is like one of those follow the yellow brick roads or Candyland. Show it to patients in a way that they can understand. Next thing that we use, one of my favorite things, is membership clubs. So how can you bond with your patients in a way that you do not have to worry about spoiled guac PPO? I don't want to get in trouble with any insurance company, so I'll call them spoiled guac PPO. I don't even know if you've noticed, but spoiled guac PPOs are paying dentists less for work that costs more to deliver. Let that sink in. paying you less for work that costs more to deliver. This is an incredible challenge to many dental practices. It has been one to mine. So what I like to do is make sure patients know about our membership club. Our membership club allows patients to get a lot of their maintenance hygiene visits at a discounted rate, and then discounts on other treatment. I encourage you, big fan of the play Hamilton back in the day, love Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's a international treasure who should be protected at all times. Remember states' rights. So we have all 50 states. So I encourage you to check with all your state regulations before you offer membership clubs. But a membership club has been awesome for our practice in bonding patients together with us. The next system is one of our marketing systems. We've used this direct mailer in OG Old School Magazine, which functions like a practice brochure, a practice educational conference. This is one of my favorite patients that I saw in 2005. We replaced all of his teeth. Where is he over here? So I'm not a green screen expert here. So this is me and this patient sharing the benefits of dental implants. I just got 2 patients today that came in from this direct marketing piece. So of course we market online, but one of the things that decreases confusion is when patients can learn about what you do before they come in. They can start to develop a relationship with you. I highly encourage your marketing pieces to share educational value, to share how implants work, how the things you do work in your office. Make sure your website has great videos because your patients are starting to understand. The patient I just saw, when I sat down, mid-50s patient, he goes, I know what's going to happen. You take out my tooth and do a bone graft. I read about it online. So patients are becoming more educated. So share your educational value online. Make sure your marketing material and your website matches the awesomeness of what happens inside of your office. Why? So that patients are not confused when they come in. So they have a clear understanding of the type of office that you have, whether that is an office that sees 15 patients at one time or 1 patient every 2 hours. Just make sure that it embraces your model that helps decrease confusion and increase case acceptance. Now, when I saw these patients today for consultations, we do a complimentary panoramic x-ray and a complimentary consult for these cases. Then they say, what's this going to cost? I got 2 price shoppers. I don't know if it's the economy. I don't know why, but I got more people saying, hey, I'm just getting quotes. I say, hey, cool. We'll be glad to give you a quote at the end of this. So what we do is we put together these 2 things. One is simply just one of our practice management forms with a list of codes, which I know are incredibly confusing. It's just a way for us to keep track of what's happening from extraction bone graft, CBCT, placing the implant guide, restoring the implant. But the way we make it clear financially is this yellow form. This yellow form is one of my favorite things to use. It has 3 easy ways to pay for care. So what I want to share with you for a minute is have a patient come in. We put together their practice management treatment plan. Let's just say the total cost here is going to be $5,827. That's not the total real cost for anything we do, but the cost is $5,827. I have an awesome team member come and say, hey, let's review the different ways that you can take care of these payments on a totally separate form that they can touch and feel. 1 copy goes to the patient, 1 copy goes to my team member. They sit there knee to knee. And they say the total cost for this treatment that Dr. Goodman reviewed is $5,827. We have multiple ways for you to take care of it. One way for you to take care of the cost of this treatment is to pay in full and get a 5% savings, save 5%. It's key that you highlight what that means. So in this case, if I'm the patient talking to myself, like some sort of dental fight club thing, I really enjoyed that movie. Say, hey, Paul, it is $5,827. If you would like to take care of that at one time before we get started, we call that our pay in full courtesy. You will save $291. How does that sound to you? The key is to pause at that time. Let the patient process it because many patients are going to say, sounds cool. And then you're done. You don't have to review the other options. It's on the paper. But they say, hey, that's too much for me. We say, totally get it. A lot of patients say that. One of my tips on patient communication is whatever a patient asks, whatever they say, is my implant going to fall out? Why doesn't my insurance cover it? Just say, that's a really good question. A lot of patients ask that. You show empathy. Empathy plus enthusiasm equals more connections. E squared equals MC, a little different than the Einstein thing. Empathy plus enthusiasm equals more connections. Hey, a lot of patients ask that question. The way it works is dental insurance works a lot like a coupon. Coupon that has benefits but also blackout dates and restrictions. Like, when you go to fly and there are airline miles that are blacked out, or you go to your favorite store and they don't let you get certain brands. So that's how we explain dental insurance in our practice. Get talking points for common questions to start with. That's a really good question. A lot of patients ask us that. The way it works is. So then the next option would be for us to stretch the treatment out over the course of treatment. 3 easy payments over the course of treatment. So that's another option. I would not save the $291 in that case, but I could stretch it out for 3 easy payments over the course of treatment. And then the third option is outside financing. And someone chose that today, outside financing. I love eating food, and probably not a surprise to many of you. I love looking at a menu, whether it's a nacho menu, a wine list menu, an appetizer menu. Just give people the menu and let them decide. I do that with treatment planning as well. The person who I have to thank for inspiring me to this menu is Dr. John Kois. I had the honor of lecturing with him a few years ago. And he said early on in my career, when I was sitting at the Hinman Dental Conference, patients do not accept solutions to problems they do not have. And what the light bulb moment for me was, I started all my conversations is, hey, here's what happens if you do nothing. So I just had a patient with a fractured tooth, periapical radiolucency. I don't say any of those words. I say the base part's broken and you have this mini bone infection down here. We don't want this mini bone infection to get bigger. I use examples like, hey, imagine if there was like a fire in one room in your house. If you saw it and you stomped it out, it wouldn't be a problem if it's in a wastebasket. But if it's spread throughout the whole house, it causes a major problem. That's how these little infections work in your face. So while it's little right now and it's not causing you anything that you notice, another word for symptoms, it makes a lot of sense to remove this like a splinter coming out of your hand. So I say, hey, we're going to remove this tooth, preserve the area of bone, let it heal. Then I say, what can you do after that? This happened to be a second molar, so you can't bridge to air. So let's move it forward so you guys can talk about bridges. So I say, hey, once we remove this tooth, you can do nothing. You know what happens if you do nothing without a tooth? Teeth can shift, teeth can move around. I will go over the 9 words that I use when a patient's missing a tooth. It's one of my signatures. 9 words to more patient-centered care, 9 words to millions of dollars in production. Some of my favorite 9 words to share with a patient what happens if they're missing a tooth. I'll go through that now in case I forget later in the video. So if a patient's missing a lower right tooth number 30, say, hey, here's what happens if you do nothing. Even if you decide to do nothing, we can still be friends. I say that because people laugh because nobody really wants to be friends with their dentist. I say, hey, even if you decide to do nothing, we can still be friends. But if you do not replace this missing tooth on the lower right, the tooth above it super erupts. I don't say super erupts, I say falls down. The tooth behind it tips over. I don't say mesial drift. The bone in the area shrinks and the teeth around it can break. Fall down, tip over, bone shrinks, other teeth break. Those are the 9 words to more patient-centered care and millions of dollars more in production, in fun, rewarding care. How many times have people thanked me for a class 2 composite over my career? Trick question, 0 times. But how many times have people thanked me for a dental implant? Many, many times. So we got to do all the things in our house of general dentistry, our diner of general dentistry. But if you focus on care that's patient-centered, rewarding to you and the team and patients, and profitable, lets you do more of what you want to do, that can be true magic. But it all starts with case acceptance. It all starts with being clear with your patients. So I always go through, like Dr. John Kois says, here's what happens if you do nothing. And then what are your options for this tooth? You could replace it with a dental implant. You could do a removable, comes in and out. You can do a bridge, a fixed bridge that will require us to drill on either teeth and go over those risks and benefits and ask the patient this simple question: which option sounds best to you? I will give you one of my tips here that I didn't use as often as a newer dentist. Patients sometimes say, hey, doc, what would you do if this was you? What would you do if this was your family member? I say, great question. A lot of people ask me that. From what I've said so far, which one sounds like it makes most sense to you? I do not jump into what I call the circle of annoyance. So the circle of annoyance is when you jump into a treatment planning decision, you now take responsibility for what happens. So while bridges can work out well, they also can get a cavity and ruin the whole bridge with one cavity. So I have the patient, I lead them to making their own decision on their terms. I give the menu, the patient orders. I, of course, highlight happy patients who've had these things before, but I do my best not to put myself in the circle of annoyance by making decisions for the patients. I guide them by giving them the menu. I was a restaurant server for over a decade, so I give patients the menu and let them choose. Before I wrap up, I want to share with you one more system here. And this is our orange sheet, emergency sheet, new patient sheet. So when a patient calls our office and says, my tooth chipped, my temporary crown fell out, the denture you did stings, I don't like my lower denture, we say, oh, sorry to hear that. Let's take some information. I'm going to review it with the dentist, and we're going to find the best time possible for you to come in and get this taken care of. How many of you out there have gone down to see a patient? You've seen your schedule. It's open at 3 o'clock. You come back up, you see the patient at 3 o'clock, and you go, not today, Millie. I don't have the brain energy to process Millie today, because dentists are people too. So what I do is protect the sanity of everyone in the office. We will get the patient in at the best time possible. But sometimes an amazing front desk will jam a patient in between two difficult procedures, and they don't know that that patient asked 72 questions before they get the bib on. I have a rule: bib on first, question second. So if you want to help with your sanity, I encourage you to utilize the orange form. If you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to answer them. So I love doing videos like this. I don't know if people are going to see this year, 20 years from now, watching this while they're on the treadmill. If you've listened this far and you want to learn more about my systems or ask me any questions at all, you can reach out to me at paul@dentalnachos.com. Maybe I can learn something. Not maybe, I know I can definitely learn something from you. I would love to learn what you're doing in your practice. I would love to know what questions you have. And I'd also love for you to ask me questions about this. The more we share, the more we care, the better dentisting world we can build together. It's not easy to be a dentist. One of the things I share, no one really likes coming to the dentist, so we may as well like each other. The next time you're at a CE course, sit next to somebody and ask them some questions. The next time you're scrolling online on a dental Facebook group, stop and say, thanks for sharing. I never thought of it that way. It means so much to your fellow colleagues. It would mean a lot to you. I want to be part of the solution in bonding us together in a